I didn't realize Snow was taller than me. Thank you very much, the officials of the EFF, members of the media, the people of South Africa and the ground forces of the economic freedom fighters. The economic freedom fighters held its 4th Central Command Team meeting on the 3rd of the 3rd National People's Assembly at the Zebula Golf Estate in Bela from the 5th to the 7th of December 2025. The Central Command Team reflected on the year 2025 in relation to organizational growth, governance, and with regard to the ability of the organization to champion grassroots struggles of ordinary people and struggling communities. The theme of the EFF in 2025 was the year of the picket lines, and it was a resounding success, which reaffirmed the EFF as the weapon of the poor and an enemy of domestic and global capital. This year, we demonstrated that our struggle does not end at the picket lines. It advances directly into the chambers of parliament, where we translate the people's demand into legislative action. We decided to internalize, as a matter of fact, the guidance of Cabral, who taught us that I open quote, every practice produces theory, close quote, and that open quote, nobody has yet made a successful revolution without a revolutionary theory, close quote. Our actions, therefore, are a conscious and unapologetic application of this truth. The CCT was further appraised on the key resolutions taken by the 3rd National People's Assembly, which was to dissolve regional structures which were not fit for purpose and instead establish sub-regional structures across the country's municipalities. Further to this, a key organizational achievement for 2025 was the launch of the EFF Youth Command, succeeding the Student Command. This strategic reorganization, resolved upon by the 3rd National People's Assembly, consolidates our youth leadership and empower the next generation of fighters for the battles ahead, including the crucial 2026 local government elections. As of today, out of the 224 sub-regions in the country, the EFF has successfully set up 184 sub-regional structures, which represent an 82% completion rate towards having structures across the nation. We must applaud the successful early launches of sub-regional people's assemblies in provinces such as Limpopo and Mpumalanga, because they stand as a testament to the disciplined execution of this mandate. This is an incredible achievement, considering it was the first attempt at establishing these structures, and all sub-regional people's assemblies convened without a single incident of violence or bloodshed, and were all independently funded by sub-regional interim leadership corps and commissars who were deployed in the sub-regions. The CCT wishes to further congratulate the following provinces for reaching 100% target, meaning they launched all their sub-regions successfully. The provinces are Limpopo, Free State, Mpumalanga, Gauteng, and Northwest. This must be commended, as it is an example of fulfilling the constitutional obligation in the EFF of completing a mandated task as expected. The CCT is further pleased with the patient work being done to build genuine and organic structures in the provinces of KwaZulu-Natal, Eastern Cape, Northern Cape, and Western Cape, which are areas where the EFF has shown great potential, particularly in the 2024 national government elections. Particularly, the work in KZN has shown us that there continues to exist an appetite for the organization in the province, and such work must not be rushed and manipulated for compliance purposes, as we witnessed ahead of the elections in 2024. It is on the foundation of strong organizational structures that the EFF will turn its electoral fortunes around in the 2026 local government elections. And we wish to salute all delegates, members and ground forces who formed part of our structures from voting districts to a branch level for delivering successful people's assemblies. As the Central Command Team reflected on the year, we made key observations on the successful organizational presence on the streets to demand the dignity of our people, but additionally on the qualitative contribution made in government. The EFF in Parliamentary Caucus was an example of excellence for the EFF and has improved in leaps and bounds, as in each and every committee and all matters of national importance. The EFF was a leading figure. Our vigilance extended across all departments, including our robust engagements in the defense budget vote, where we demanded accountability for military spending and the welfare of veterans. The defeat of the value-added tax VAT increases, which were proposed by the Government of National Unity earlier this year through logical and superior logic debate by the EFF in the Standing Committee on Finance, the National Assembly, and ultimately the Western Cape High Court, remains a historical achievement for the organization. It was for the first time that the budget process was subjected to intense scrutiny, and first time that the budget process was subjected to intense scrutiny and revision. And National Treasury's neoliberal and austerity-based budgeting was confronted by the EFF, utilizing the money bill and relevant legislation to protect poor and middle-class people.
It's not 36. It is democracy when 36 is ruling Gauteng. We allow that. But we refuse to allow democracy to rule KZN at 47%. That doesn't make us an MKP friends. We are not friends. Our relationship is still what it was yesterday. But we cannot go against the will of the people. At least respect the will of the people. It doesn't matter how much you disagree with those people in KZN. We'll continue to have a relationship with the royal family of AbaThembu as a royal family recognized by our nation, by our people. Dalinja was politics as an individual, and if he's a member, is he a member? Did we check him on the system? If he's a member, he's no longer a member because he defined himself outside the organizational policy. He's not us who chased him away. If he's a member, he chased him away. So you have no business, none whatsoever, with being a member of the EFF. But do we require kings to be members of the EFF for us to have a relationship with the kingdom? No. Musizulu is not a member of the EFF. I was at his wedding, and if given opportunity, I will still go and meet with him. His membership is irrelevant because I have to respect and recognize the traditional leadership. As it were, actually, the kings should not be allowing themselves to join political parties. Because all of us belong to that royal house. So if I stand here and say we are fighting with AbaThembu as a royal family and the kingdom, it means Vuyanu will have to choose between the EFF and AbaThembu. And we cannot do that because of an individual political action of a king who decided to be completely out of order. The king of AbaThembu is not a politically amateur individual. He's a trained soldier. He's from exile. He's politically trained. He understands very well the problem between Israel and Palestine. For whatever reason, he decided to do what he did. We completely disagree with that. And therefore, in our membership system, we will never have an individual who side with Israel. Never, ever. Remember, we're still fighting now for Parliament to implement a motion of no confidence, a motion passed by Parliament to close the Israeli embassy. Till to date, Ramaphosa pretends to be fighting Israel's genocide, yet the embassy of Israel is still open against a parliamentary motion that has passed. They do a domestic work of pretending to go to court and all of that. The real action will be to close this Israel. We're fighting. Whether you like it or not, we're fighting. There is a war going on. America is leading the charge for our position on Israel. What more are you scared of? Close the embassy of Israel. We cannot share a territory. We cannot share our land with murderers. Must never allow that, and then pretend in international platforms as if we are with the victims and the children and women of Palestine. So that's where we are. So you see me tomorrow, Esbayin, with Ndalinjab. Don't say, what is that thing they call us? Flip-flopping. Melenyathele. Kukumkan kahlele. Kukumkan. Because that's who we are. It doesn't matter how I feel about his political views. Don't get it twisted. So these ANC people who treat him badly because politically he doesn't agree with them, it's wrong. It shows political immaturity. Because whatever happens, recognize that kingdom and give it the respect it deserves. Some of the things he's doing, he's being pushed away because of the way he's being treated, but it's still it's not justifiable for what he did. Being a revolutionary does not mean you must commit suicide. You said I must not be too hard, so let me not be too hard on you. That's why revolutionaries take guns and shoot at the enemy and fight the enemy. They don't say because we are revolutionaries, let's appear in front of enemies and the enemy must shoot us and kill us to demonstrate we are revolutionaries. That is committing suicide. That's not revolutionary. Actually, that is being a suicide bomber. We're not suicide bombers. I've been found guilty. Not because I committed crime, because she's punishing me for my political views and using a non-existing criminal matter which is not there. Let me school you a little bit without fighting so that when you are at holidays, like Senzo Mukunu, you reflect on this thing, but don't announce any dissolution of PKTT. We apply for 174, me and Adrian, 174, to be discharged after the state closed its case. We say the state has not built a case against us. Therefore, discharge us. She refuses to discharge us and says, when you refuse to give 174, you mean there is a case you must answer. Fair enough. We say, okay, that's fine. I will take the stand and answer my case, which I did. Adrian refuses to answer the question. He says, no, I'm not going to take a stand. In fact, the ballistic expert will answer the case on my behalf. In fact, the gun law expert will answer the case on my behalf. In the judgment, you say that ballistic expert of Adrian did not answer the question. He was the most useless person, which means Adrian did not answer the question even through the ballistic person. Then you say, shame, the gun law expert is such a good gentleman, and yes, he contributed in the formulation of the gun law, and I can take it that far. Other than that, it's not being useful to me, which means you are dismissing that person who was answering on behalf of the Adrian. The question you said Adrian must answer is still not answered. Because you said Adrian has got a prima facie case to answer, which has been built by the state. He still doesn't answer that question. You say, no, discharge, go home. Why didn't you give him 174 at the beginning? Because you said he didn't. There's a question to be answered. He still doesn't answer that question. You say discharge. So that's a level of madness you are dealing with. An extreme incompetence. We're preparing now for a pre-sentencing trial. She still has not provided a written judgment. The social worker who prepares for my pre-sentencing trial, she's looking at the judgment through YouTube. That's the justice I'm faced with. I have to go and then appear on the 23rd and argue why I must not be sentenced. I've got nothing written. When she discharges Adrian, she just says, accused number 2, not guilty, you can go home. But she doesn't say you are not guilty on this charge because the state failed to prove this case in that they could not provide 1, 2, 3, 4 on this one. On this one, the state did not do 1, 2, 3, 4. She knows if she does that, she's now punching holes on the state case. And that applies on Malema. And I can't punch state holes, case holes for Malema because I need Malema for racism because I've got emotional attitude against Malema and I need to punish him for so many things I don't agree with him. And therefore, I'm not going to venture into the reasons why I gave accused number 2 not guilty verdict. Was seated here, will still not give reasons why accused number 2 was given a not guilty verdict. Because those reasons apply on me. You said accused number 2 gave me a gun. When you discharge accused number 2, it means you are now releasing the gun, which you say I've used to commit crime. A gun used to commit crime, once you are found guilty of using that gun, it gets seized by the state. It's no longer returned to you. A gun used to commit crime can never be returned back to the owner. So as I'm standing there, and when you are sentencing me, where is that gun you are saying I used to commit crime? Where is it? As I'm standing in this box, you are sentencing me. Where is the gun? The only gun that remains in that court is the gun I provided to the magistrate, which is a toy gun. Adrian, funny enough, Adrian was called a day before by the prosecutor before judgment was passed. Adrian was called a day before by the prosecutor to come the following day where judgment was going to be passed, to come and fetch the gun. How did the prosecutor know that Adrian was not going to be found guilty and therefore he's got a duty to release the gun? The gun is released as we speak. Remember, you found me guilty with this gun. As I'm standing here, the gun should be standing next to me. Or you have used this to commit crime and therefore put the lives of people under danger. Therefore, I'm sending you to jail for 15 years. Where's the gun? So that's what you're dealing with. That's why I'm going to appeal it. You're not going to blackmail me and say I'm a revolutionary, I must not appeal it, because you're also part of the team that wants to see me in jail. Baba. What is even worse is for this one next to me on the left. If he thought he was going to be acting because I'm going to jail, I'm going to appeal. I want to appeal until the Constitutional Court. So you must know, I'm still around. For those who were excited, I'm still around. But we'll meet on the streets on the 23rd of January 2026. Anyone who loves the law of this country, who agrees that presiding officers must never use the courts to settle political scores, have got a reason to come out in their numbers on the 23rd and say, not in the name of our law, not in the name of our constitution, are you going to use your political differences with Malema to abuse what is entrusted with you as a presiding officer? You know, for any of you who know me, I will never run away from my responsibility. I'm a member of the Ad Hoc Committee, member of Parliament, member of, leader of the EFF, its member, and a family man. You see how many responsibilities I've explained to you, including the role I play internationally. When you're not even international, you're office bound. I don't know if you have an office or you are sharing that desk in the open thing. I'm not sure if you got a family or where, if in any of these responsibilities I explained to you. So all of these responsibilities are not going to drown because I'm sitting at the Ad Hoc Committee. I've got a duty to all of this, including a duty to wear a hoodie and go to a school and watch my kids playing a play. I wanted to have a father do that to me. I never had it. And I'm going to do that to my children. That which I longed when I was a father, I will do it for my kids. And no animal is going to stand between me and my children. No one. Because when it comes to my children, I've got a duty to perform that. When it comes to the EFF, I've got a duty to perform that responsibility. When it comes to Ad Hoc Committee, I've got a duty. Now, unlike Ad Hoc Committee, in my family, in the EFF or everywhere else, I don't have an alternate. No. Unless there is an alternate in my family I don't know of. That I will not be held accountable for it. But as far as I'm concerned, I have no alternate. Now, I've got an alternate. If I'm not there, the EFF is there. And our alternate was there. The EFF was there. Leave this obsession with Malema and being pretentious that you like me when you don't like me. Firstly, when I accepted to be a member, he's not giving other people a chance. Why is being a member? When I'm being a member, yeah, he must come every day. Why is he not here? Hey. I've got a colored lady with capacity, the DSG of the EFF. If you look at what she has done in that Ad Hoc Committee, yes, she drew us some 10, 15 new votes of colors. They like us now, right? EFF is very good with colors. I told her she must be a councillor in El Dorado Park because the way she's so popular with colors now. How was she going to be in a position she is now if at times on critical matters she's not being given an opportunity to shine and show the capacity of the EFF? That these are not just token. They are women with capacity and they are able to confront hardened criminals and hold them accountable. And all of you here, no one can say that you doubt her capacity in that Ad Hoc Committee. And suggesting why I was not there, as if she was not there, is belittling her and downgrading her and looking down on women and worse, a colored woman. The EFF was there, and therefore that question does not arise unless it's based on sexism and racism. Be careful what you are not asking when you ask that question, because there's something you're not asking. So I'm not scared of Sibiya. Sibiya is messed up. I don't know how Sibiya is going to come out of this one. And if Sibiya was a human being, firstly, he should not have challenged his suspension. Secondly, he should not be putting us through what he's putting us. By now, Sibiya should be packing and going home and negotiating his pensions. Because if he's going to take us this long, he must know he's eating on his pension. No government is going to pay his legal fees. By the time this thing comes to an end, they say he's guilty in all front. The bills are coming in, and the bills have to be paid by pensions. The pensions will have to be garnished. So it's not for me, it's for him and his wife and his family to take that decision. My guy, let's save what is left of this thing and see what else can be done. His performance in the absence of Malema was so poor in the Ad Hoc Committee, extremely poor, and it exposed him. Exposed him. So why do you need Malema? Even in the absence of Malema, Sibiya still performs so bad. The Ad Hoc Committee still exposes him. Shame, you know, if Malema was there, it was going to be worse than that. That's what you missed, I understand, but the man still hasn't performed well in the absence of Malema. So if you thought I was staying away because I was rescuing him, or if I stayed away because I wanted to rescue him, it didn't help. It didn't serve any purpose. The guy performed very badly. You know, Ntigi, we are part of the globe. Globalization, it was not of our own design, but the world evolved to become a globe. And these multinational forums where we were able to express our views, whether we're being heard or not, make a space for us to go and articulate our views. We ought to utilize those forums. Let's take, for instance, the UN. It's one body which is a very good idea, ideally, but in practice, the big brothers don't take anything it says serious. You bomb UN missions in Palestine. You bomb people who are going to supply food. UN missions. Who are we in the bigger scheme of things? The G20 helps us to engage in global economic matters, to express what could be alternative ways to can get the world better. The G20 that emanates out of the 2008 banking crisis, which plugged the world into an economic crisis, and was trying to find an alternative platform international where such things can be avoided, is now being utilized by a fascist of note to settle political scores. So you will know, Ntsiki, that where we are not wanted, that's where we are going actually. There where America doesn't want us, that's where we want to go. Because it doesn't matter, we want to express our views. It doesn't matter how much veto powers they've got in the Security Council. We want to sit as a permanent member of the Security Council and challenge this thing of veto powers. We know we're not wanted there, but we want to sit there. We're not going to retreat about that. We're not going to retreat that because we're not. The G20 necessarily, there's no one who doesn't want us in the G20 except this fool. It's this guy who's got a problem with us and by extension America. And America is not a G20. We are a founding member of the G20 and no one is going to push us away. We are going to mobilize international communities to condemn Trump's action. We still have a year where we need to mobilize communities. I want to say it here without any fear of contradiction. Ramaphosa handled this saga very well. If it was me, it would have been worse. He did. That's what you see, that's the thing with diplomacy and radicalism and all of that. You ought to strike a balance. The guy handled that thing very well, very successfully, in a situation where he was confronted by serious hostility. It's not easy to fight America. Where you stay, to FNB where our people, all of them, ought to be. Why? I couldn't provide an answer, and he was held accountable. He can hate us anyhow he wants. We hold each other accountable, and that's what we do. And that's our local government election strategy. The provinces have got a mandate now. You are not going to file a report that says this councillor is lazy, when we deploy them is not responsive. If you file a report like that, we hold you accountable because we gave you power over them. We want you to come with a report that says, this councillor did not do 1, 2, 3, and we acted this way. But everything else must be fair. I'm not related to Matlala. Matlala and my wife share a surname. Sibongo Fanana. There are a lot of people like that. That's why I said to him in that prison, jokingly, that when he was trying to define his relationship with the head of Hawks in KZN, I'm forgetting his name, he said, it's like a brother to me. Actually, his wife is a cousin. No, not a cousin. Actually, his wife, what will I say? His wife and me share the same surname. And I said to him, at the rate you're going to call me your cousin. And he said, yeah, you are my cousin. But I'm not. And my wife is not related to Matlala. And the definition of Matlala, of where they come from Nebo, the Skukuni side. My wife's Matlalas don't come from Skukuni side. There are two Matlalas. They are the ones of Skukuni, they are the ones of Matlala. Matlala Taba, that side of Mashashani. Most people around there, they are actually Ndebeles, who are now who convert into Pedi-speaking people to an extent that they even converted their surname, Bo Jonas Gwangwa. So the ones that didn't want to call themselves Gwangwa, they change and call themselves Kwakwa, but they are Gwangwas. So that's the side where my wife comes from. So there's no any relation. But your pettiness could not move me. Now there is a guy who looks after me now. You see this guy behind the wife of Matlala. That picture you used and said Matlala's bodyguards or protectors were looking after Malema's wife, and you put the cat's wife with a bodyguard and you say, that's my wife. That's not my wife. The guy in that picture now works for the EFF. So the thing with protectors is that they move from one place to the other. They rotate, so we can't be held accountable for such a nonsense. But we have nothing against, we have got nothing to do with Matlala. And that's why I was there at the prison. I asked him questions. And I did so without being shaken or any other thing. I took a decision when I went to Matlala's thing to be psychological in my approach and to speak to his conscience with an hope and aim that I can break him, that when you speak to his soul and conscience, he will be able to say, look man, this is not right, because Matlala might not have had anyone who spoke to him the way I did his entire life. Oremagai, what is this now? Like, why are you doing what you are doing? That's why I had to say to him, speak to Jerry's mom. He struggled. And he thought he's going to evade that thing. And I said, this is my time, it's not your time. You are going to speak to Jerry's mom. Because psychological, I thought, in the conversation with the mother, the way it is, the conscience might kick in and he's able to break and say, no, man, I have to just accept my wrongdoings. What is conscience? You ought to live here knowing it. Is that thing that Julius Mukwanazi did at Madlanga Commission, where the lies are in conflict with conscience, you start sweating. Because this one brain is going against itself. They are going the opposite direction, but there's one brain. Okay, you think Julius Mukwanazi, because he's current, maybe I'm being opportunistic. You remember the national chairperson of MKP, Ntlego. What is his name? Nkosi Nati Ntlego. When his conscience had to declare a swimming pool a fire pool, you remember he was sweating. He was also fire pool. That's conscience. When you do those things of competency tests, they put things on your fingers and then make you sit on some chair and all of that. They call it what? Polygraph. They make you sit there and then they start asking you questions. You must sit, so even under your feet, they put some equipment. You must answer honestly, because if you don't, conscience kicks in. And someone was telling me a story that when they put him through the competency, and then they asked him the same question 3 times, and the conscience came back that now he has to confess, or it's true. But he said no. Instead of saying yes, this finger stood up. This one, he just found his finger up like this. And then he knew, no, he's gone. I don't know, if I had anything, I was going to cut this finger. I don't want it anymore. It just stood like this. He didn't give it a permission to stand. That's what I wanted to do to Matlala. You approach different scenarios with different approach. And being a student of psychology, I know that myself. That's why you try to play psychological games with me. I know this one is taking chances and it's not going to get to me because I know this game. So I was trying that. To an extent, I succeeded because Jerry's mom sent me a message and thanked me. And thanked me and said, for the first time, I felt represented. That what I've been longing for, that someone should hold this guy accountable about my son. It happened today and I'm happy. If I can make one African mother happy, you guys, I know I will never do anything to please you. That's where we stand, Somlom. Thank you. I'm sorry I took long, but as a commissar, I've got a responsibility to educate.
Thank you very much, President, even for exposing us. We will take the second round of questions and final round of questions. You'll be number 1. You'll be number 2. You'll be number 3. Is there number 4 and 5? Going. Sorry.
He says I didn't answer the question of political parties that are mushrooming, including Mayibuye and all of that. The thing is, anyone who hates on Mayibuye or MKP or anything like that, you hate on our democracy. Because our democracy in the Constitution says we are a multi-party democracy. We are not a 2-party state. Whether you like Floyd or you don't like Floyd, he's exercising his right, which is protected by the Constitution, to form a political party or not. So you guys claim to be protectors of the Constitution, and then at the same time you declare that There is fragmentation of black votes. There's so many political parties. Is it unconstitutional? If the answer is no, then so be it. There's nothing wrong. We're not threatened by that. Neither are we threatened by Mayibuye. All of which, what is happening to Floyd and all of them, I'm so lucky to have seen some of these things happen right in front of my eyes before. And I know what is going to be the end result. So I'm neither threatened or intimidated by anything. He must use whatever he has at his disposal to make himself relevant and to make his party relevant and to make it succeed. If it is to his satisfaction and he thinks that's a strategy that's going to help him, let it be. We all use different political strategies. I've been here. There was a guy, if you remember, called Boy Mama in Sibiya. I've seen him do what is happening to Floyd now, right in front of my eyes. And I chose silence. He said to me, he's going to take my mother and rebury her in front of my grandmother's gate. They went to my grandmother's house, they were kicking her doors, her gates. They carried coffins on their shoulders, my coffin, written my name. And one day my grandmother pained me when she says, I can see all of that. There's a boy there called David Majola that I used to serve a plate of food. Today he kicks my gate. That is what pains me. It was not luxury food. Probably it was a pap, chicken with salt and water. She says, that's this one who's paining me. Go and look for them today, where they are. Mine fight for what belongs to them from their graves. A declaration of war against me as an individual is a war against my ancestors. That's why I keep quiet and they do the work. You know, when I work so up enough, you know, level like my pastor, my spiritual mentor called Ramaphosa called me beginning of the year or somewhere there to his house and said to me, you are not going to respond to these people or engage in a fight with them or exchange of words or anything. Prophet Ramaphosa, he said to me, at the end of everything they are doing, they will be in front of you asking for a job. And I will wait for that day. It has happened before. It has happened before. I've got a family establishment there in Polokwane called Slave. Boy Mama Bolo is a regular there. It's a business. It's a regular there. I will never allow anyone to chase him away. Hey, this guy wants this one. You don't do that. Badimu ba ketwela. And badimu baba shabi. They fight recklessly. They fight for themselves. So let them do whatever they want to do. I'm still here. And my ancestors are still with me as I speak right now. And that which I've set for myself the whole year, I've achieved it. And that's a confirmation that my ancestors are still with me. They've never turned their back on me. They will never turn their back on me. So I don't care. Say whatever you want to say about me. Do whatever you want to do about me. At the end of the day, you are small boys. When I saw a door of prison, my ancestor said, you're not going to enter that door. Even now, as I go to that court in East London, I know they refused before. They will not allow it now. Thank you.
Thank you, President. You were number 1. There's a number 2, number 3, number 4. Is there number 5? Number 5. And we'll close it there. Number 1.
Thank you so much. Here I see good afternoon and panel there. It's difficult, the CIC, to speak after you've spoken about the ancestors, but I'll try. CIC, the EFF stands with the students. Your take on matric exams, are you happy? And do you think NSFAS will be ready to fund the students next year, come January, February? What's your take on the NDPP candidates' interviews? And the last one, quickly, do you think the Matlala Commission has done or is doing enough to protect the witnesses? Thank you.
Number 2.
Oh, good afternoon, CIC and the leadership of the EFF. My name is Mpose Kharume and I'm from the Gauteng Times. I just want to ask you this. My question branches off from your comments about Donald Trump and how he's the reincarnation of Hitler, and you subsequently also lauding President Ramaphosa as for how he handled the situation. So now I just wanted to ask, because you did joke that if it was you, it would be a different situation. But in reality, if you were to be the president today, would you be able to mitigate this deteriorating relationship, or would you also have a war-ready type of attitude towards the US? And then also, I just want to ask, with you talking about not wanting to dive into strategy going into the local government elections, the SACP has resolved to contest. So now, does that present itself as an opportunity to kind of like forge some type of alliance, maybe to try leverage your contestation going into the elections as well? Thank you.
Number 3.
Thank you. My name is Right Mukwena from Postmasburg Daily. I'm asking about the issue of the year of picket lines in regards to the school in Mogale City. We haven't seen EFF doing picket lines, and the year is already ending, about the incompetency of municipality there to give you access to the land and so forth to do the school. The second one is the issue of Pala. When there was a march to hold Mr. Ramaphosa accountable, CAC, you said if you don't get the answer, there will be a march every month. Is it still going to happen? Thank you.
The last one, number 4. Just press the place with the face.
Oh, thanks. Hi, my name is Malika Mazwai from Moya Podcast. My question is, how do you feel about the GNU now after our first year of being under GNU? And does the EFF intend to join the GNU at some point, or do you still want to run and win alone?
Thank you very much, President.
Sorry.
I forgot number 5. It was number 5. Sorry about that.
Good afternoon, CIC and the leadership of the EFF. My name is Ntabisem Molejani from Central News. My question is with regards to the EFF Youth Command that was launched in July. How will this new structure work, or how is it working with the EFF Student Command? And also, can you tell us about the work that has been done since the launch of the EFF Youth Command? Thank you.
Thanks, President.
Thank you, Somlomo. I think metric exams have gone fairly well, with very minimal to none disruption, and we congratulate really the department for having handled that matter very serious, because a matter of metric and especially pre-tertiary education should never be used for politicking. When it comes to matriculants and the students and education, we should all unite and be one thing. And as far as, for as long as the student, the youth command is there, the EFF is there, there's no deserving student who will be turned away. It doesn't matter whether the university has got sufficient accommodation, they will have to find it. Doesn't matter the money has been exhausted, they have to find it. We found money for Matlala Commission, but we can't find money for a village which doesn't have water. We can't find money to build a bridge for a village that has to cross dangerous rivers now in this rainy season. But when Matlala Commission, Zondo Commission, commissions where lawyers line up their pockets are to be established, all of a sudden there is billions that are available for such. You know, there are people in the Eastern Cape that are put inside a container and get pushed to cross a river. Has the president not seen that? President Putin says, I drive in this city of Moscow without blue lights, without anyone recognizing, and I've got a problem. There are people who are speeding here. We need to pass a law that is going to regulate speed, because he has come into contact directly with the problem. Inside the container, as the president has never seen a place where they had to carry a coffin on their shoulders to cross so that they can give their dead one a dignified funeral. There are isolated incidences that the president must see and immediately intervene. What is his role? Why is he there if he has got no power to say, no, on this one, I'm putting a stop? It can't be. So they will have to find that money. The Freedom Charter, which they were celebrating, ANC event, the doors of learning and teaching shall be open. They've opened the doors, but children can't access those doors because they have no money. That's a contradiction. We need to solve that thing. So hence in our statement we said, the first thing, we are going to have to be at each and every gate of every campus, not university, TVET, university campuses, every gate. Students must look for the gazebo of the EFF. Students must look for the EFF table. Why? The students have been very good to us. We have an opportunity to return the favor, and we'll do that without fail. And that is the role of the Youth Command, with the support of the mother body at the back. If I were president, I will never be sheepish in front of the US attack on South Africa, never. First thing I would have dealt with properly is that thing of Rwanda of killing our people by Kagame, killing our soldiers. Till today, we have not responded to that situation. Now the report has come out. Only 27% of our soldiers are fit for purpose. It's not me. When I say it, I get insulted and be told
he's putting the county at risk. And we are at risk. We need to turn around the military of South Africa. We need to put more money in the military of South Africa. What is the point putting all monies into all of these things when you can be walloped by a small country like Rwanda? Humiliate you to a point where the president of Rwanda makes no apology about it. He continues to insult us till to date. Till to date. And there's no response. Well, me and Ramaphosa leadership style is different. He does his own things his own way. Sometimes they work, most of the times they don't work. Like that diplomacy of his was needed now. Because we owed it not only to Trump, we owed it to the world to be hospitable to our visitors. And we're exactly that. And never shown a sign of a panicking nation which is under siege by America. So you should know that I will never be sheepish. We've got, and most of the Matlala, when Matlala said to you, he's got how many? 8 special forces, 9 special forces, 8, and 1 task force. He was not answering the question. He was actually trying to threaten us that he walks around with the army. The Special Forces of South Africa, it means the highest level of the South African National Defense Force. The highest. Those people alone, they can flatten that thing of Rwanda alone. Our Special Forces. They are not small boys, those people. Very dangerous people. Followed by Special Task Force in the South African Police Services. Very dangerous people. Part of you to pass to be a member of a task force, not even special force, task force, you have to jump out of that thing of a parachute. Every task given to you, you have to be dropped in a country, a foreign country, without that country knowing, in a bush, and then you have to find your way back without a cell phone, without a compass, nothing. You have to sit like this and look and say possibly this way and go and come back. That's when they treat you, they teach you how to infiltrate the country. You know, not even a special task force. They said force under the special task force is called counter-assault team. They are trained to pass a lie detector. This thing I was telling you about. Lie detector, you call it what is a DP? Polygraphy. So what they do, because I guess they put things under your feet so that when you lie, the toes move. So under your toes, they put the pins inside your shoes. Or you must stay like this. If you move, even when you are lying, if you move, these things are going to cause you trouble. So your conscience is aware there are pins under my toes. So I must make sure even if I lie, these things don't move. They are trained to pass a lie detector. It's part of their training. So when a graduate TG of a counter-assault team says to you, I pass a lie detector, and you think this is an innocent person, you must know it's a lie. They are trained to pass that thing. We've got those people. It's not so much about Rwanda. It's so much how much protection Rwanda will get from Britain, from Israel, from the USA, if we decide to engage them toe for toe. That's what makes them survive. Why would, without an American protection, a Rwandan president go to Oval Office with the DRC president, Tshisekedi, to go and sign an agreement? When they come back, the Rwandan president is still continuing with his shenanigans in the forest of DRC. He knows. He enjoys protection from those people. But, you know, I don't know what is the ANC resolution on the Communist Party. We will engage the Communist Party. We continue to engage the Communist Party informally. We're ideologically aligned. But the Communist Party has got no capacity of mass mobilization. I think they must accept that they are just theoreticians and leave it at that. You know, there is a guy called Joel Nechitenze. You have never heard him saying he's going to launch a branch of the ANC, no matter how good he is ideologically, politically, and all. You have never heard that Joel Nechitenze is doing door-to-door or mobilization. No, he's just a theoretician, which some of your friends who are forming parties should be accepting that they're just theoreticians. These things of parties and mobilization, they're just not their thing. That's what the Communist Party is. And what is more interesting about these ones who are forming parties and they can't even mobilize people and organize their own conferences is that they are graduates of Communist Party. 30. Where have you ever heard that Blading Zimande is organizing people? Where? Gwede is even much better because Gwede was in the NUM. At least he organized the mine workers. They don't do that. Their job is to just sit and then theorize and critique. They are armchair critics. They don't. Shem Soli is trying to agitate Solimapai, but he doesn't appreciate the fact that the people he serves with, all of them, thrive on Google. When you are sitting in a meeting with them and you say, how do we move about this question of coalitions? You must go to a meeting of Communist Party or the Young Communist League. At least I was fortunate to go to meetings of Young Communist League. All those young people of Young Communist League go to meetings with laptops. All of them. And you're thinking they're taking minutes. They're not taking minutes. When you say, how do you go about this issue of coalition? They Google, what will Marx say on coalitions? And then they put it like this and they raise their hand. Comrades, Marx on this question would have said, because Moto, when you speak to him without the gadget, there is a crisis. There's no idea of what they're talking about. So we used to have a secretary in the EFF who came from the Young Communist League and the Communist Party in Limpopo called George Rappel. Every time you sit in a meeting, it doesn't matter, he opens that thing. And he even had a computer, not the one, looking laptop, the one that can even fold straight like this, like flat. When you are speaking, the guy is typing. He's a provincial secretary of the EFF in Limpopo. In the next meeting, there are no minutes. In the next meeting, there are no minutes. The guy from the Communist Party. Next meeting, no minutes. So they should accept that it is not their strength. I think that strength ended with Chrisan. After that, really, but theoretically, ideologically, and They will engage. They're very good, they're gifted at that. But theory without practice is meaningless. And they've threatened the ANC for a very long time. I don't know why the ANC took this much time to respond to their threats. So in the by-election of Ward 13, there's a guy called Obed, I forgot his surname, in my ward, went to the same school. He was a Communist Party candidate now, when we had the by-elections. The guy was an ANC activist, he's well known, everybody knows him there as a comrade. But the day he took a cap of the Communist Party and stood against the EFF and the ANC, what was the lowest they got in a video at the DP? There's a video where they got 2 votes. Yes. And then I think the highest was 7 in a video. They were there, prominent Communist Party people that I know in Limpopo. When I went to vote, they were, calling me, and I was like, oh, how are you? I know them. I think they got, how many votes they got for Communist Party? That are 10 or 15. Madala Masuku was there. Very less votes that can't even suggest that there's any potential of threat. Every time we critiqued them about that, they characterized us in the ANC as being anti-communist. But no, there's a group here that is embedded at getting rid of the Communist Party and all of that. At least COSATU at the time could pull masses. COSATU could stop work. Now today I hear that COSATU is marching. I hear after that COSATU was marching. I feel nothing. 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 No, the shops are operating. The workers are going to work. Those who don't report for work, they say they went to the strike. If there is a sheet to be signed there at the strike, they sign and go home. They are not part of those things. Here in Dobsonville Stadium, where they failed, you must repeat that they failed. They must know they failed to fill up Dobsonville Stadium. Having Ramaphosa and that president of COSATU self-seeking, who's selling us out workers for a position. She's desperately wanting to go into a GNU. She doesn't care. And why these workers don't see this thing, I don't understand. I don't understand why they can't see that she's not for them. She's for whatever is happening. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, with the leadership of EFF in Gauteng, Moshekoma, Dunga, fill up Dobsonville without a sitting minister, without a president, without a state resources, filled up to capacity without any national intervention. They defeated COSATU. The last beautiful picture of red in Dobsonville Stadium remains the EFF. They must be ashamed of what they've done. That's why Ramaphosa has got no regards for these workers. The NC has got no regards for these workers. Because they know they've pocketed COSATU. They've finished it for positions. I'm telling you now, Mbalula is going to be president of the ANC if there is no serious intervention made to stop him. To stop him. I warned you about this, that this Mbalula, if they allow him to do what he's doing, he's going to lead them. If it was a marathon, Mbalula is ahead. Paul is trying to catch up. Mbalula is ahead. Out of this so-called staged NGC that gets organized in a manner that it has never been organized. We want to That was Mbalula's show of force. You say it was Cyril's show of force because there are people who said they are going to remove Cyril. Cyril didn't get removed. It was never about that. Mbalula wanted that to show them that he's in charge. You remember, I ran these things in the ANC. We went to the NGC in KZN. We defeated Zuma, both in numbers and policy position. After that, Zuma knew that these boys are going to remove me because the NGC tells you what's going to happen. That's when he expelled us from Mangaung conference. We were expelled because he got a sign. And Gwede told him, it says, they are pretending like they are removing me. They are actually coming for you, and he was right. We're making noise about Gwede, but we're looking for this one. We won in the NGC in Durban. And we got expelled, and that's how Kgalema lost the Mangaung conference. I'm giving you this history for you to be able to determine. Because conference is not won at the conference, it's won before. So, he's going for a kill. He's going to emerge as a president. Unless something drastically happens. Because the naive you guys says, yeah, but you said Mbalula is going to be a president. Look, now he's a president. I'm telling you, what is prevailing now, the balance of forces show that Mbalula is going to be a president. Let me give you the last example. At the NGC, Mbalula addresses for 2 hours 30 minutes, addressing the NGC. The president is sitting here, meaning he's addressing president for 2 hours 30 minutes. That's number one. That's when a man shows you doesn't care about those things. Then make matters worse. When he finishes speaking, they start singing about the Secretary General Mbalula in the presence of the president. What happens? The president is forced by that environment to stand up and sing about Mbalula. You didn't see what was happening there. Onobala, tenas, vunu no bala, one content, Ramaphosa, no bala. It's supposed to be the other way around. Then Gwede realizes, man, hey, there's going to be a mess here. He tries to stop the song. They sing even louder. And not only louder, go to the podium. The sitting president is made to sing about the Secretary General. And then you must tell me where the power is there. Paul Mashatile, who says he's a contender, he's made to sing about a person is standing against. Get power, Papa. If you know how it works, that thing. Get power. It's a psychological warfare. You fight Mbalula, you see those videos, you see the whole conference standing up, singing about this guy, you're like, it looks like this one of ours won't work. Let's join this one of Mbalula. It's psychological. So, we are ready to join GNU, and we will join GNU. The person who's stopping us from joining the GNU is Mbalula. Once he gets that thing of president, he's going to get rid of that thing of DA, and I said, come here, come. Because Mbalula can accept the fact that we must be ahead of him. That if they get in and they get given responsibility and they shine, the potential is, I will never get this thing I want. So we grew up under him, so he knows no. Kathleen. Let me resolve this thing. Once we're done, I will call you. We're being stopped by Mbalula. Cyril doesn't have any problem. Majority of those NEC members don't have any problem. The problem, they take a decision to do away with DA and Freedom Front Plus. Why would you beg Freedom Front Plus, for instance? Why? What do you want from a Freedom Front Plus? What? What will they do, which they're not doing now? Because AfriForum is Freedom Front Plus. And AfriForum is the one that is going around saying you are killing white people, which means a minister of correctional service says you are killing people. So why can't you just get rid of these things? Because anyway, you're not gaining anything out of that. Nothing. They know that they are not getting anything. It's not about attracting investment and growing the economy, because even with that GNU for over a year now was stagnant at 0.5 growth. So stagnant at 0.5 growth of the GDP means that we run a risk of 0.0% growth, which is going to put us into a recession. These people are going to put us into a recession because they are not industrializing. They are not manufacturing for production. They've got no plan to create jobs. They've got no plan to grow the economy. Even with whites being there, I agree you said the medicine of a black person is a white person. They are there. But John Steenhuisen, what do? Uber Eats. Uber Eats. Uber Eats. The whole year. And John Steenhuisen, there is material evidence. You get a picture of him before GNU, and you get a picture of him outside after GNU, you can see Uber Eats. Uber Eats. It's there. It's there. What more evidence do you want? He doesn't help you with anything. He went there to Oval Office, spoke bad about us, spoke more than African black ministers in that Oval Office. What did you get out of that? Cyril took him here and said maybe a white man, Afrikaner, who is a leader of opposition in South Africa, can help to change things. He went for beggars there. Honyo, no results. And it is of note. Helen is after him now. Want to show him flames. That DA is Helen. He's in charge. They will finish him. Still nothing. They're not getting anything. We are saying to you, trade with China. Let's work with China. The DA says China is an undesirable partner and all of that. After eating Uber Eats, he's in China. He wants to eat with those things. Chopsticks. After he said China, we have been saying to you, go to China. Like we're saying now, no, China human rights, China this. John Steenhuisen has made a 10 in China. So what is it that you are scared of EFF to be in the GNU because it's going to put you in a worse situation? Because it's going to push you to go to China. But the DA has gone with you to China. What happened? Nothing happened. Nothing happened. It's swart khafar, scaremongering, that if the EFF comes in, something dangerous is going to happen. It's a lie. We are being stopped by a guy called Mbalula. You know, there is a guy called Hope. What's the Hope name? Bob. The guy was so opposed to EFF being a participant in the municipalities with the ANC, and he became coordinator of the Gauteng PTT of the ANC. He now was confronted with a reality. If we take out this EFF, these municipalities are going to have a problem. Damascus, moments. He realized, right, this year, there's no problem here. Now they speak every day with the SG, Hope Up and SG, like the BFFs from high school. The man who didn't want to hear nothing about the EFF, when he came into reality that for a budget of Gauteng to pass, it needs the EFF, he realized I have to work with these guys. Mbalula knows that. Mbalula knows that. Me and Mbalula are from the same school of thought, trained by the same elders. That's why when there was some week where he was doing wrong things, I sent him a message. I said, in all our political engagement, teachings and all of that, they've never taught us to behave the way you are doing. Because it's unethical, you know it. You don't do that. You don't. It doesn't matter how much you disagree with a person. You just don't do that. Because me and him, it doesn't matter how much we disagree. There are certain things that we're told is do's and don'ts. We don't do that. Certain things don't do. So that's why I'm able to tell you that at the way it's going, and then the ones who fight with him, they must pay me so that I can be their strategist to tell them, if he moves this way, you have to come this way, and that's how we're going to defeat him. Otherwise, we must start practicing. We had a president cupcake. We must start practicing President Voter. His nickname in the revolution is Voter, Votamulelo. Very radical chap. There is no student command, my sister, it's youth command. So we got rid of student command. It's only one structure, youth command. It organizes in the village, in the campuses, and in the townships. Student issues, youth issues, everything are now together. These kids have done so well. So I like Sitle as attitude and Naledi's attitude. So Sitle is out there as a face, he pushes the thing. Naledi does the actual work. And she's not in competition with Sitle. She allows him to do what he has to do, but she would have gone in to prepare what needs to be done first, and then let the convener do what he needs to do. But you sit in a meeting and you need to know what is happening with the youth command. Naledi will give you the minute detail of what is happening because she's at the thick of things in building this organization. We have asked them, do not rush. Build a quality youth movement. But at the back of your mind, you must know we need you next year in 2026 because the youth vote is going to be very critical. The youth, especially for the EFF, the youth vote is going to be very critical. Fighters, commissars, fellow South Africans, Africa and the diaspora who are coming to an end of the year, please enjoy your festive season. If you finish this festive season, you have never given your old clothes to someone deserving, you must know you are greedy. You're the most useless human being. If you still have clothes that you were wearing at high school in your wardrobe, and when you were young, when there are so many people without clothes, you must know it's not only ANC a problem, you are a problem. If you are going to be having festivities and a meal, if you can't give them some food, invite them over so you can share a meal with the poor of the poorest. Let's make it easy this festive season for the poor. As they see other children shining and other children eating, their pain becomes even more. You lessen it by making them feel they are part of the future of South Africa. You have a problem with their parents, do not have problem with children. Never use children to fight battles. Always protect the children of South Africa. Let's make sure that these children are not subjected to trauma. Let's make sure that these children look to the future with a positive attitude because their neighbor was good to them. I am what I am because my neighbor and neighbors were good to me. And in return, I'm good to them. Let's be good because we don't know what those children of your neighbors are going to become. And when they become something else in future in society, they will remember you. Help those who cannot help you and do not write their names down because you must not remember them. When you remember them, it's because you want to enslave them. You want to make them your slaves and constantly remind them that you have once helped them. Do not do that. Let it be an enjoyable one, even in poverty, in suffering, in unemployment. There is a moment we need to pause and appreciate God for giving us life. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President, the people of South Africa, the media. That brings our press conference to a close. Thank you very much, President. Officials. To members of the media, we've got something to thank you on the second floor for all of your coverage this year. Let's meet on the second floor.